In this video, I want to discuss a very common problem with loading scripts or JavaScript scripts inside your HTML. So in this example here, we have our HTML loaded here, and what we want to do is when you click the button here, we want to see the result testing here. And I'll show you the code of that in a second. But the problem here is it's telling us it cannot read properties of null. So essentially, we have a document.getElement by ID, right, which is a button ID, and it's telling us that this part is null. However, if we look at our HTML, and it's a very simple script loaded, you'll see that we do have a button here with ID button, right, and we do have an ID test. But what it's telling us is that this part right here is null, even though it exists on the page. So the problem with this is how we loaded our JavaScript. So essentially, how you should load your JavaScript is one way is to put it outside of the header, which is a common pitfall, and to put it right at the end of the body. And what you'll see here, what's going to happen is it's actually going to work this time, and it's not going to give us an error. And we go back and write testing, and it's going to show us the result right here, right? And again, if I take it out, put it in the head, it won't work. It'll tell us that there's a property null, or it can't read properties of null. And the reason is, again, it's sequential. So the code runs sequentially. Your JavaScript here runs before, and at this point in time, there's no value to HTML. The HTML hasn't been loaded up yet. So essentially, it'll run and it will have no value. So when you put it at the bottom, it gives time to the HTML to load, and by that time, you'll have the values ready. Right, and you'll see it's working now here. Testing. So another way to solve this is to wait until your document is completely ready. So let's look at that solution. So you'll come here, again, we'll refresh and you'll see properties of null. One way you could do is use the window.onload method. Window.onload, and it's a function available globally. We see that window, and it waits until the document or the HTML is ready and loaded in the DOM before it does anything. And you'll see now, even though we have it at the top, it'll actually load up without any errors. And we'll write testing, and you'll see it'll show up again. Now, this is not an ideal way of doing things. I mean, you have to wrap your code in this all the time, or remember to do that, and there could be a simpler way. And another way to do it, and to have the best of both worlds, to have your scripts all the way at the top to keep it organized, is there's a new keyword called defer here, or a keyword that exists called defer. And what you can do here is it actually waits until the DOM is ready to do that. So now you just have to add it on your script. You don't need to wrap your code in anything, and you can write testing right here, and you see that it works. So just to recap on everything here, we have the defer method. We also have the window.onload method if we want to use as well. And we also have the ability to load the script at the bottom. What we don't want is to load it at the top without the defer. So I hope that helps you with some JavaScript issues. I've seen people run into this in the past and are confused as to why their JavaScript isn't loading. And that way it can make your life easier. You can use the defer and organize all your scripts. I hope that helps.